All right, welcome everybody.
Welcome.
I hope you're enjoying our first ever Mindset UX4ERP Summit so far. We are talking today about finding the best SAP talent in an ultra-competitive market. So I'm Libby Kessler. I am the Senior Director of Recruiting here at Mindset. I've been with Mindset for 6 years now, and I have 13 years of experience in IT recruiting and talent acquisition leadership.
And I'm Austin Kessler. I'm the SAP Talent Executive here at Mindset. I play a dual role in a senior recruiting role and also do account management for a couple of strategic accounts for us. I've been with Mindset over 5 years, and I've got about 10 years of recruiting SAP talent. And just to put it out there, we are not related. We've got the same last name.
That's correct.
We had the privilege of working together and the opportunity to present here today, but we are not related. So just wanted to answer that question. Get that out there. So yeah.
So the SAP Experts team at Mindset, this is our staff augmentation side of our business. We work on contract to hire, or direct placement SAP roles. This team is made up of sales and recruiters, but both just focus 100% on SAP. We have 6 senior US-based recruiters, 65 years of total combined experience. So again, it's a very senior team of recruiters. Most of our SAP Experts business is based in the US, but we're also able to fill international roles. We have a team of 4 recruiters in our Bangalore, India office. They're mostly focused on internal Mindset positions, but lately they've been starting to focus a little bit more on SAP Experts roles. We've also filled roles in Latin America as well as Canada. And as a team, we really focus on quality. We want to find you the best person. Experience, we want your experience to be great as a client, and as our candidates, we also want them to have a fantastic experience. And then speed is huge. We want to get you your person as fast as possible.
So we wanted to talk about the challenges in today's market and what we've seen recruiting and being on the front lines of talking to talent in today's market. So the first one, bullet point here is SAP is niche, right? There's only so many talented individuals for each area of SAP, right? In my 10 years of recruiting in SAP, there might be 10 people that I know that are very good at what they do that we continue to reach out to. But there's a lot of areas of SAP and just so many people. If you're looking for a .NET developer, there's a whole lot of those people out there, right? But when you're talking about MM and then you go down the list of requirements, what you're looking for, there's not that many people out there, right, that may be a match for your opportunity there. And then when we're talking about the Minnesota market, the Twin Cities market, that also limits amount of people here, right, in the pool of talent. And so in the last couple of years, what we've seen, and this really started, I think, with the pandemic, is that this is a candidate market. Candidates we've seen today are being reached out by so many recruiters, so many companies for open opportunities. And really, when I'm giving a candidate a call, they're saying, well, I've got 2 other opportunities I'm looking for, but talk to me about your position, right? So with that said, they're able to really pick and choose which opportunity they want to go with, and compare and contrast which one they want to move forward with. Expensive, I know we don't want to hear that, but yes, SAP talent is expensive. Contractors, they know that there's not a lot of people out there that can do what they do. And so with that, we've seen rates rise over the years. Mm-hmm. And like I mentioned, there's a limited supply of candidates, and then inflation. Every time I pick up the call, pick up the phone, call someone, I swear their rates are going up $5 an hour each time I talk to them. So I know inflation is staring at us, but the rates are seem to be always steadily increasing. And then consultants, and I think this started with the pandemic. They're less inclined to want to travel, right? They've been working remotely. They enjoy that, waking up and then going straight to their bedroom to work and get on the computer there, right? So with companies moving back to needing people to be on site and requiring more travel, consultants are reluctant to do that, and they want to stay working remote. And so that's some of the challenges that we're facing is just candidates wanting more remote. And then requirements. Sometimes we're getting requirements that is looking for bilingual speaking and candidates that require MM and SD and knowledge and experience across multiple modules there. And that makes it tougher to find people there. And then lastly, full-time hiring. We've seen a change in the market there with more SAP talent looking to go and get into consulting. And so with full-time opening roles with companies, that's less of a pool that we can talk to you about going full-time. And so so that's it, and we've seen that it's taken more time to fill open roles for full-time opportunities at companies, and sometimes takes several months. So it's becoming more and more a challenge to fill those full-time openings there. So.
Excuse me, on full-time roles at any given time, how many do we really even focus on full-time roles, or how many full-time roles do we focus on to our clients?
The last couple of years we hadn't focused on a lot of them, but recently, I mean, right now I want to say we've got probably 2 or 3 full-time direct placement roles that we're working on, but yeah. So given the challenges that Austin walked through, we're going to share some ideas for trying to break through those challenges. But first of which is understand what you truly need in a position. So answer for yourself why the position is open, what is the day-to-day going to look like, and what are your top priorities in terms of skills for this person. Think about your 2 to 3 non-negotiables in terms of skills. We see job descriptions often with a list of 15 required qualifications, required skills, experience, etc. At some point, especially in this market, you are going to have to decide what's most important for me. And then also understand where you might be willing to be flexible. So is there flexibility in compensation? That's a tough one. Oftentimes there isn't, but that's going to be the first one to consider. Can the position be remote? Again, in this post-pandemic and end-of-pandemic world, everybody got used to working from home. People want to continue to work from home. You're going to open up your candidate pool quite a bit if you're open to remote workers. Are you willing to train someone in a certain area is another thing to consider. In some cases, you need a consultant to come in and hit the ground running, and we understand that. But in other cases, there may be situations where they have most of what you're looking for. Do you have the time, and are you able to train them on a certain piece of it, but they're the right fit otherwise? And then lastly, are you willing to consider a contractor if it was a FTE position? Simply because that also opens up the pool of candidates quite a bit more. And if it's important to consider, what are the impacts of waiting for an FTE? What impact on my team is that going to have on the business, on my project, et cetera?
So just to add on for the tips for hiring, having a strong sell package for candidates is especially important in today's competitive market. Candidates want to know, what type of project am I working on? What kind of technologies? What kind of impact is this project going to have? So on and so on. So they want to know the specifics about the project and what they're working on. Some just want to work on S4. Others want to work on another type of specific area in the project. And so it's important to know how to sell to candidates because they're being reached out to by other recruiters, by other companies to come and work on their projects there. So if and when we do partner with you, hopefully, what we do is we'd love to hear how we can partner with you and represent you in selling to candidates. And so it's important to know what are the top things that we can do when we get on the phone with the candidate to sell them on the opportunity with your organization there. And then the next, consider speed and candidate experience in your hiring process. Candidates today, again, are being reached out to every day about opportunities, and so how quickly can you move on someone if you like them, and how fast can you make a decision? Candidates are gone like that, and so they're not available for long, and so what we've seen is that when we reach out to someone, usually they do have multiple opportunities they're looking at, and they're not around for much longer. So it's important, and it does contribute to an overall good experience in the hiring process if you're able to make a decision within a week or 2 weeks there. Consider reducing interview rounds. 5 or 6 rounds. It may take that for maybe an internal role to meet with all your team, but the less I would say is better. And candidates want to only, probably they prefer to meet for maybe 2 or 3 times and then have a decision made, right? But if you're going on and having 6 or 7 interview rounds, they may lose interest or they may already be gone by the time you make a decision there. And then prompt and consistent communication, that is key. And candidates, if you do not move forward with them, it's important you give them feedback there because you never know when you're going to reach back out to them. You may need them in the future there. And so us recruiters try to keep that in mind when we're engaging with candidates that to keep that consistent communication with them. And then, if there's a candidate that you think has 2 or 3 skills, sometimes, can they learn quickly? Do you think they can eventually learn the skill set? Can they move into that module and eventually learn it? With how crazy the market is, how tight it is, and how there's not a lot of sometimes maybe not a big pool of candidates out there. Sometimes taking someone that just has 1 or 2 of the skill sets that you need, and then seeing if they can learn the next skill may be enough to fill your open role there.
So when you're working with us, when you're working with Mindset, the more information that you share with us from the get-go, the quicker our team is going to be able to identify the right candidate for you. It's important to keep the lines of communication open. We know that requirements change, things change with a position, and it's important to let us know that as soon as you know so that we can redirect or change our efforts. And then feedback, that's also very important, a lot to what Austin was saying on the last slide. But with constructive feedback, whether it is on candidate submittals, if we're missing the mark somewhere, or whether it is after an interview, let us know and we'll be able to change. Or if it's positive feedback, we love to hear it.
So we wanted to bring an example to you of a recent difficult to fill role. We had a client reach out and said, hey Austin, we need someone in South America that was bilingual and that also was focused in treasury. Well, treasury is one of the hardest to fill roles in the market. There's not many treasury consultants that are good that are out there. So I think that's 1 strike there. And then 2, bilingual, they wanted them to be English and Spanish speaking. Well, I don't know too many people that could speak both languages there. And then 3rd, they were looking for someone to start, of course, yesterday, right? And so when we first got this role, I started looking around. I was like, I'm not sure we can identify this person. But what we did, we started networking. We talked to our leadership, and we made a couple of calls. And through those calls and continuing to network, we were able to identify a contact who knew of a person that was located in Argentina that was an excellent treasury consultant. And yes, it was bilingual speaking. And so we were able to identify that person, get them in there, qualify them, and then they interviewed with our clients, and then they brought this person on. So that was all within 24 hours, and this really speaks to our deep pipeline that our team has and how deep of a network we have. And really that's what our value is from a SAP recruiting standpoint, is the deep pipeline of candidates we have, our network, and how much reach we have even outside of the U.S., right? Into Mexico, into South America, Europe, and even in India. So.
And so we know that most of the folks at this meeting are here from a client perspective, but we did want to throw in tips for job seekers simply because we're talking to job seekers day in and day out. First one is network as much as possible. Keep in touch with a variety of connections. Let them know when you are seeking new opportunities. The next one is obvious, but update your LinkedIn profile. It's smart even when you're not, even when you're a passive candidate or not looking at all. Keep that up to date and have a somewhat updated resume on hand. Understand what you are looking for as a candidate. Why are you interested in considering new opportunities? And what are you looking to gain in a new role? What skills or experience are you looking to grow in? Then, of course, understand what you can bring to the table. So what skills make you a unique candidate? What skills are you able to contribute and then be able to sell yourself in an interview, in an elevator speech, any of that, be able to bring your value proposition to the situation. And then also know that an interview should be a two-way conversation. You should be asking questions of the interviewer as well to understand if you are the right fit, not just ask a question, but ask questions to really get an understanding of whether it's the right opportunity for you or not.
So we wanted to give just you an insight into our approach here as a talent acquisition team to our approach to the whole process of identifying a candidate, talking with the client, fit verification, and then just making sure that that consultant or that candidate has a great experience with us. So first, it's our partnership with the talent community there. We've got deep relationships with the local SAP community. We've got around 12,000 SAP consultants and full-time talent in our database there that we've got access to. And this was through just networking. It was through events, meeting them, and other events that we met them at. So we've got that, again, we've got that access to all those people there. And with that said, just with talking with all that talent there, we've got a strong understanding of the SAP market. We know the trends. We know EWM right now is kind of hard to find talent. What are the niche areas? And so we really understand the market because of that. And then partnership with clients. When we sit down with you and help you identify talent, whether that's for a project or a support project or whatever, we want to know what kind of person that you're looking for, skill set, soft skills. We want to know all that to make sure we're understanding your need and make sure we deliver the best talent for that role there. And then, of course, when we sit down, we're telling you about the SAP market, what we're seeing out there, how we can best find this person for you, whether that be for full-time or maybe a contract role there. And then fit verification, we've got an extensive process where we make sure every candidate that we submit to you is going through our process here of referral checks. We've got a great SAP tech team that's screening every candidate before we submit them to you to ensure that they're quality and that they know what they're talking about and they can do what they can do, just to ensure that we're delivering great quality to you. And this really helps streamline the process there, so you're not having to go through a number of interviews to make sure this person is a right fit, right? And then at the end there, let's say we do place someone with your team there, we're checking in, weekly and monthly to make sure that these consultants are getting supported, and if there's anything we can do to help them out, if there's anything they need training in, or if there's any additional knowledge, we're looking to help them out in that sense there, and making sure that we're preparing them to be successful on that project there.
So core competencies and capabilities, our talent network really spans the gamut of the SAP ecosystem. We are able to fill roles really in all of these different areas. We have designers, we have developers, technical leads, functional leads, and project resources, scrum masters, project managers. We do, as Austin said in the last slide, we have a network of over 12,000 SAP professionals, and they're in a variety of different areas.
So here's some of the numbers that our SAP experts has had accomplished in the past couple of years. We're working with 50 plus clients to help them deliver the best SAP talent that we have in our network there. We've got over 200 plus active consultants right now partnering with Mindset today. Net promoter score with the client, we've got 55, and then with our candidates experience, it's been 88. Just for context, for a net promoter score, anything above 0 is really good. And then, like we alluded to, we've got 12,000 SAP professionals in our network here today.
And so, talking about what sets Mindset apart, we are just SAP. That's all that we do. There aren't a lot of staff augmentation companies specifically that are just doing SAP. But we are, and we're having those conversations day in and day out. It's also very different for a company that does staff augmentation to, we have internal folks that are actually doing the SAP work. We are able to leverage their skills and experience to do technical screens or to help a recruiter fully understand a requirement. We do have SAP mentors that work for Mindset. We have SAP press published authors, and they're all able and willing to help in the SAP experts hiring process. We are an SAP partner, so we have direct access to latest technology, training, resources. We are committed to growth of our consultants. We want to help them grow professionally and to develop their skills. We do this through education, also through certification programs. Remarkable experience, that one is a big one for us. We want candidates to have a really great experience working with us, and based on the 88 NPS they really have, that is really an incredible NPS score. And also on the client side, we want you to have a good experience. We want it to move fast, be a smooth process, get you the person that you need as quickly as we can. And then lastly, we are global. We have access to global talent, and our networks, though they're based in the US and India, they are quite broad, as you could see with Austin's story about the Latin America treasury, bilingual, all the things.
Yeah.
All right. Any questions?
I got a question for you. You talked a lot about bringing on talent that's already very senior and has all the expertise.
Mm-hmm.
I work for CHS, and one of the areas is we have a lot of senior SAP folks, but we don't really have that junior, the next generation of SAP support folks.
Mm-hmm.
Have you thought at all about a pipeline for bringing in like talent right out of colleges
Mm-hmm.
and people who just want to reinvent themselves that you can kind of infuse into businesses?
Yes, and we have done it actually at a few other clients. We also have an internal, more junior program where we are training up folks right out of college or right out of a boot camp program, getting them up to speed on SAP and getting them billable at clients as well. Yeah.
Absolutely. So we do have a good pipeline, and we recognize that a lot of the SAP talent is a little bit more senior, right? But
Mm-hmm.
there is a need for more junior SAP talent, right? So like Libby was saying, that we've placed with several clients SAP junior PMs and functional analysts, data analysts. So we have a good pipeline of all those professionals there.
Talked about our juniors program.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't know if we want to call on her, but
Understanding the candidate has the aptitude, to maybe want to learn.
yeah.
Do you have questions that if they have the aptitude, maybe they have one or two skills, but how do you kind of pull out of them the aptitude?
I think, I mean, it's a tough thing to do, and it's certainly more, you're trying to feel out a softer skill in that case. I would say behavioral interview techniques would be helpful in that case. Trying to ask them about a situation where they had to learn something new, or a similar situation to that could be an option. But I mean, you know, it's tricky. It is tricky.
I think past experience, maybe look at, you know, reviewing their resume or asking them, like, tell me a time when you've had to pick up on a new skill set or learn something new. In their past experience, were they willing to jump in and learn this in this other area here? Were they willing to take that on? What steps did they take? Are they natural, you know, are they curious, you know, and are they, of course, quick learners, you know? Talk to me about an example like that. Those are some questions you can ask to see if they'd be willing, if they can pick up an additional skill set.
And some candidates just talk a lot about learning new things, or you're just, you know, in a normal conversation with the candidate, they're talking about how they did this at this client and they got ramped up in whatever skill. Sometimes it just is a natural. You can see it through the conversation, but other times I think behavioral and past experience would be helpful.
Yeah. I think looking for that passion too of wanting to learn new technologies in other areas, and you can kind of see that in the way they speak and the way they work. So, yeah.
You talked about it being a candidate's market, right?
Yeah.
So what are the indicators that you're seeing that it could be changing?
Yeah, that's a good question. We're seeing, you know, just due to the economy, that some projects may be slowing down, that there may be no funding, or companies right now are not looking to use external resources. And so we've had cases of that and working with our clients. And so with that said, I think that's slowly impacting some candidates out there, knowing that there's not as many opportunities. So we're seeing a little bit of shift. I still say, again, overall, it's a candidate's market, but with less opportunities, meaning, you know, it may not be a candidate's market. I think SAP in general, like, they're always going to have the upper hand, we think, but it's becoming less and less where they've got 3 or 4 opportunities they're looking at, and maybe just 1 or 2 that they need, you know, they're going to take one of those, so.
Do you think that recent mass layoffs affected this market?
Absolutely, yeah. I think that contributes to that. So,
You talked a little bit
Yeah.
in one of the slides about selling the position. I think you called out,
Yeah.
hey, make it a cool project, make it innovative technology. Well, the reality is not
You can't always.
not every project, not every technology. Sometimes
Yeah.
you need somebody to do something that doesn't take those super exciting new BTP projects, right?
Right.
What are some other things that you've worked with our customers on, or that you've talked with candidates about, that help drive some of that excitement or drive some, some interest in a position that might otherwise, if you just read the job description, might not jump off the page at you?
Right, right.
I think thinking about, if you can't sell that it's an exciting project, they're not all going to be exciting projects. Maybe you can sell that the team that you'd be working on, or the manager, his or herself, and what is great about working for that person. You could have the candidate talk to somebody on that team to really get a better idea of it. If it is, you know, a great team environment or a great manager, those are some ideas that come to mind quickly.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. You know, you talk to the manager, he's great to partner with, or the team being very collaborative and very close-knit, and it's just great to work with. So those are some other areas you can sell if project's not
Training
as exciting.
opportunities too.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
was interested in what you were saying about more clients are requiring in-office or in-person
I think it's slowly going that direction there. There's some companies that jump right back into the office and travel, and there's others that are slowly getting back to it, running like a hybrid model, 2 to 3 days on site, and then work maybe Mondays and Fridays remotely, right? And there's pros and cons to both, right? On site and remote. So some companies are choosing to go fully back on site, and they may lose out on some candidates because of that, and others that are just saying, hey, through the pandemic, we ran our projects just fine with people working remotely, and we're going to continue to do that. So, and in that case, they may have a bigger pool of candidates they can pull from when the time is when they're looking for a resource there. So, yeah.
Attendees, any shift in what you're seeing, turnover for on-site versus remote, or about the same?
Yeah, I can speak on this. At CHS, we learned that we don't need to be in the office
Yeah.
5 days a week.
Right.
And we know we need to attract top talent.
Right.
And if we require that, we're not going to get them.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
we've adopted a hybrid approach. So
Yeah.
we're pretty flexible.
Yeah.
If they want to be remote or come in, 2 or 3 days a week. So I mean,
Yeah.
especially in IT,
Yeah.
Right.
our business units, they're more, they want to come in more.
Yeah.
But within the IT area and SAP area, we're pretty more hybrid.
Can make a big difference in the candidate pool for sure.
And that's important to know. Like, if you're going to hire, let's say, a full-time employee or a consultant, to know that they are capable of working remotely and are going to do the work still and be responsible for getting their work done in a remote capacity there, right? So that's important to note if you are going to go to a remote model there. So,
So I would like to make a comment there. Pandemic actually gives us an insight that work can be done remote.
yeah.
But at the same time, what we are experiencing in some of the complex areas, if you do not collaborate on the whiteboard, right in the room,
Right.
that makes it not delayed processes. So it's kind of a combination of both.
Yeah.
Now that people are more interested to come back, and that we are asking them to come back maybe a day or a couple of days in a week, in particular days where we can collaborate.
Right.
But at the same time, we are more open than ever before to recruit folks from, remotely.
Mm-hmm.
They can work remotely and
Yeah.
to tap in that talent pool, which
Yeah.
we've never had in the past.
Yeah.
So it's kind of a combination of both. We're still exploring this area,
Right.
and hopefully we'll strike the right balance.
Right.
Yeah, I think everybody is in the same boat there.
Yeah.
Because collaboration can sometimes suffer, but people love it. People love working remote sometimes. So yeah, it's finding the right balance.
I have a question about
Yeah.
project managers
Okay.
and the scrum masters.
I know a good person you could probably direct the question to there. So, yeah.
So when you find scrum masters or project managers for SAP projects, small or big,
Mm-hmm.
do you also try to find out how much of SAP background do they have, or just scrum masters? Because what we are seeing,
Yeah.
that sometimes we're seeing a gap there.
Sure.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody who's just big time scrum master, have done few projects, not a lot of SAP background, coming in and trying to run a SAP project.
Right.
Lack of knowledge, experience
Right.
in SAP space.
The lingo. Yeah.
Yeah.
Kind of comes as a roadblock many times.
Right.
Do you see the same feedback from other clients?
We do, and it's hard to find a Scrum Master that has had a long list of SAP projects, right? We've seen project managers that have been in the SAP space that have transitioned to a Scrum Master role, but not a lot of Scrum Masters that have that SAP expertise and knowledge of it. And yeah, like you said, not having the lingo, what to look for on projects, how to manage the day-to-day, and what to expect on an SAP project, right? So we're seeing the same thing where we actually have had clients reach out for Scrum Masters saying, can we get them with SAP experience? Well, there's not a lot of people out there right now with that SAP experience that are Scrum Masters. So,
Yeah, I mean, especially there's a couple different ways to take this, but Scrum Masters, for instance, without SAP understanding, just to use a really basic example, like how to do change management effectively in an SAP landscape if you've been more typically doing a product-based model in an agile environment when it's not SAP, right? Transports and things like that add a very different element, right? How you partner with all those other teams that are likely to be involved, that has an impact. So we absolutely see a difference in project managers and scrum masters with SAP experience versus project managers and scrum masters who do not, right? And again, back to what I think the team tries to do is, well, what do you need, right? What is this project like? Because there are some projects that we do that are near SAP but don't necessarily have that same requirement. But if you're looking for somebody to do an SAP integration project over the course of 18 months, like the quote unquote typical SAP project, probably want somebody that's been involved in something like that before because of all the complexities of things like cutover and all
What's your thought on that? Well, as you said, terms which comes in SAP, not just the terms,
Right.
the understanding behind it.
Yeah.
The transport mechanism or the third-party systems which are kind of, in a big size company, you will have 30, 40, 50 third-party add-ons into the system, right? As many number of third-party companies tied up with the main S4 system or ECC system, right? So the components and the upgrade and the retrofits and the multiple system landscape understanding, the transport mechanism that happens back and forth, that understanding would probably give us an additional advantage if the project manager knows about it, or has an exposure to that kind of environment in the past. Not coming in and exploring first few months what it takes, how does it work.
For sure.
So yeah, that makes a difference at the beginning of the project. But some people they catch it up quick.
Yeah.
Some people don't, and then there was the struggle starts.
Well, I think it also depends, and this kind of ties to what you're talking about in terms of building talent as well. I mean, it also depends on what kind of support structure you might have within that particular project that's going to allow that person to be successful.
Yeah.
Right? If you're putting them on as a less experienced resource on a project role with a more experienced program manager or project manager, that's a great opportunity to take somebody with really strong core around project management and get them comfortable with an SAP, because then the next project they're gonna be great. They're gonna be ready to go.
Yeah,
Right? So there's that balance.
that kind of stuff we have adopted a few times at CHS, and it's very successful. At times, when there is no one, then probably putting a new person, that backfired on us a few times.
Well, I mean, like anything, we have customers who, when you talk about requirements being negotiable or non-negotiable, right? We certainly see some in the project management space that say must have done SAP implementation before, some version.
But I'll throw one back to you. When we do a solutions project where we provide the Scrum Master and the entire team, our biggest question is, does the client really have a true product owner? True. When we run into issues, it's because there's that lack of understanding of the importance of that role.
Sure.
And so we try to, just as we try to understand your requirements on the resourcing side, we have to figure that out on the account management side.
Yeah, it's kind of partnership from both sides, right?
Exactly.
And then complementing each other. So yeah, it's outlining the requirement at the beginning is more important than ever before. Yeah.
Anything else? Well, thank you all.
Thank you.
Enjoy the rest of the evening.